28th, year of our Lord, 2024. Hope everybody's having a good Saturday. This is my first Saturday broadcast, so I'm
using free speech to free minds.
happy about that. So, I wonder how everybody's doing out there. Like I said, this is my first Saturday broadcast. I just wanted to kind of hop on and, share a few things with you. I don't know how long I'll be on for, but, if anybody wants to get on and ask questions or comments, I would, I look forward to it. Let's start out with something. Hi, Amy. How you doing? So everybody, with the heartthrob of Luigi on the left, it turns out, I dug into some numbers. This is the guy who shot the CEO in New York. Just one fundraiser alone raised $150,000. Just one. Now, if you remember from a prior broadcast, there were over 140 different people who had fundraisers and had put money on his books and all this stuff. I'm hearing numbers. He could have already raised $1 million. I'm telling you. I feel an OJ's situation is coming on here. And I think he very well is probably going to get off. Now, one of the people who raised the $150,000, this was a really wild, crazy leftist. And she, she had a lot of valid points when she was talking about the healthcare system being broken. Her only problem is she's misdirected to why the healthcare in this country is broken. It is broken because of government. And we have the proof, okay? A lot of people, there were a lot more people today that were alive when Obamacare was created than when Medicare was created. And if you look, when Obamacare was created, look at what happened to healthcare. Now, I wish I could have this woman, I wish I could interview her, because I would ask her, wouldn't it make more sense to put the $150,000 to actually helping somebody who's been denied? Children with cancer, an elderly person who can't get their medicine, right? But instead you blew it on this guy, right? And look, the left is wrong about one thing. He did not start the conversation on healthcare, okay? People have been having this conversation my entire life, okay? And it really picked up with Obamacare, the conversation of healthcare. And so, this guy, all he did was destroy a life. He destroyed his own life. And he destroyed the lives of both families. And so, I was shocked at that number. He could have $1 million put away by now. If this one person gave $150,000 by herself, who knows how much Luigi got. But I digress on that story. So, Congress has a 19% approval rating, but yet has a 97% re-election rate. Why is that? How can people, if you hired an employee And that employee had a 19% approval rating. How long would you keep that employee for? But yet, people in Congress have a 97% reelection rate. And a lot of the problem is, one problem is, these people don't get primaried. Or if they do get primaried, nobody's paying attention. Also, another problem is that people tend to vote either red or blue ticket. And they don't even look, they don't even know who they're voting for. Okay? Right now, Congress, we just proved it. We just seen it in the last vote, the CR vote that just happened. You know, you have half of Congress is all Democrat. And then you have the other half of Congress that is like 70% rhino and maybe 20-30% actual fiscally conservative Republicans. And you have to ask yourself, how did this happen? Well, part of the problem is if you speak out as a Republican, if you are a Republican, people like Sean Hannity, Bill O'Reilly, all these right-wing, Tucker Carlson, all these guys on the right, will eviscerate you for it because they believe in Ronald Reagan's 11th commandment, thou shalt not speak ill of another Republican. And it's that kind of attitude that has gotten us people like Lindsey Graham of my state. People like DeSantis in Florida who, you know, this guy's stealing rights left and right in Florida. Same thing as my state. You know? And, you know, we need to push back on this. And the only way to do it is we got to primary these people who are not out there protecting our rights. So don't vote straight ticket. If you don't know who you're voting for, don't vote for that person. Okay? Because you might be putting in there a sleeper. You might be putting in there somebody who doesn't hold your values. Okay? Now, even though Congress has a 19% approval rating, they just gave themselves a pay raise despite their record. And now their income is now 155% more than the average citizen, okay? Median income, okay? So, think about this. Congress has a 19% approval rating, okay? Can you think of anything Congress has done for you and your family in the past, I don't know, decade? No. Okay, what they've done is they've blown asset bubbles, they've blown $36 trillion, okay? They have blown your money in Ukraine, Afghanistan, Iraq. A lot of those guys are still there. And, you know, their income is completely, these people, not only do they get 155% above the average citizen, let's go into some of the perks, because I think people will enjoy this. They get all their travel covered when they're in D.C., going to and from D.C., so if somebody lives in California, okay, and they got to travel to D.C. to do their job and travel home, we pay for that. Okay? So they get, and when they're in D.C., all travel is included. Okay? Now, while people are upset with health care, they just gave themselves another health care option. This is option number 4 fully paid for by Mr. and Mrs. Taxpayer. How many options do you have? You know, there are people right now, they're dropping their health care insurance, they're dropping their homeowners insurance, okay? Because inflation has absolutely destroyed their livelihood, their Social Security check, right? Their pensions are being eviscerated. All of their living expenses also are covered. So when they're in DC, okay, when they go out for a meal or they're going to go do something, okay, maybe they want to see a show, maybe they're going to go to that brand new stadium that they just funded in DC, okay, that's paid for. That goes on the Congress's credit card. Now, if that's not enough, Congress also, they get free postage. Could you believe that? They also get their stamps and postage paid for, full, okay? Now, do you think that with looking at the country that they deserve any of this? Do you think they deserve a raise? Do you think that they deserve an extra health care plan? You know, do you think that they deserve all of their living expense? Yeah, yes, Julie, yeah. Thank you, Anthony. I'm going to keep fighting. I appreciate you. Yes, Julie, yeah. All of that is true. And not only do they get all of that, but it just came out that Congress used $17 million of our tax dollars for fiscal 2024 for sexual and other harassments. I think if Congress wants to sexually and physically assault people, they better damn use their own money. Okay? This is absolutely disgusting. And you notice how they cover for each other? Why aren't these phonies who go on Fox News, CNN, MSNBC all day, right? They got nothing to do. They go from show to show. And they'll attack each other. But boy, where are they on this issue? Where are they? They're nowhere to be found because they're all covering for each other. And guess what? There's no public records. They will not show us exactly who is doing the sexual assaulting, which is a double slap in the face to Americans. Yeah, Amy, you're 100% right. Congress deserves nothing because we are paying for them. We as citizens get nothing. Look, you know, it used to be the way the founders had set up the country. The founders had set up the country, that's why we call them civil servants, right? It's supposed to be an act of civility, an act of, you know, you're giving back to your country, okay? These people are self-serving. They're all self-serving. I mean, look at Nancy Pelosi and how much money her and her husband have made doing insider trading. Or Mitch McConnell on the other side. I mean, this guy, Mitch McConnell, the two of them, I mean, we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars between the two of them. And if not for both of them, you know, basically becoming senile and too old, they'd still be in there. We could barely get rid of these people. And it's disgusting. And, you know, we're sick of it. We want to see these people go. I don't want them legislating from behind the curtain. You know, we need a transparent government. You know, I reported the other day how the White House staff and the so-called media, okay, the so-called media hid Biden's dementia, okay? Not last year or this year. We're talking back in 2020. I mean, so they knew going into the White House that Biden had trouble, and yet they still tried to run him. Oh, by the way, with Biden, I wonder if Trump's Department of Justice is going to look into the diary that came out that said that Biden was showering with his daughter. Okay? So if we want to get corruption, let's start there. Let's get all of this stuff out. Okay? Because it's absolutely disgusting that these people get away with this stuff. Okay? I'll never forget when they raided Trump's Mar-a-Lago down in Florida. Okay? He's got this palatial palace down there. It's gorgeous. And I've actually been there. They raided his beautiful place down there. And I remember then it was like a month later, maybe 6 weeks later, it came out that Mike Pence, Vice President Mike Pence, also had documents. Then it came out that Joe Biden also had White House documents. And I'll never forget it. They go to Mike Pence. They didn't know which house to look in. This guy has several mansions. While he's over there preaching the Bible and everything else when he was in Congress. And then when he was ready to backstab Trump several times, they didn't even know where to look. Then they get to Biden's place, right? He's got papers in the garage. But that wasn't all of them. He had several other beach houses. These are civil servants. Where the hell are you getting all these mansions? And where the hell is the media on this? When you're making, $125,000 a year, $150,000 a year with taxes taken out and everything. How are you affording $20,000, $30,000, $20, $30 million mansions, each one? How? Trump, we know where the money came from, right? Trump busted his ass, and you got to respect the guy, whether if you like him or not. The guy doesn't take no for an answer, and the guy knows how to make money. And look, even when Trump was in a bad situation with his bankruptcies, that guy took literal horseshit and turned it into gold. I mean, he really did. And people wrote books on what Trump did before he ever ran for president, because it was amazing what he did. But these creeps in D.C., they're just plainly ripping us off. Let's see, do we have any allowed to be president with no any dementia because Obama already served 8 years. Puppet, actually, Obama. Yeah, Amy. I used to scoff at people who would say that. I'd be like, oh, come on, it's ridiculous. But now, in foresight, you're right. This was basically Biden's Obama's third term. And, Obama had said something when he was president. He used to say that every decision that Obama made, Biden would be on the opposite end. And everybody would say, wow, Biden is just wrong on everything. And knowing that Obama backed Biden to become president in 2020. Knowing that every decision that Biden made was wrong. Why did Biden do that? Why did Obama do that? Because you're right. He basically had a puppet in there doing his bidding. So, that's government. They back somebody. That's what I don't like about the parties. I have to say, that's what despises me about the parties, is because you are almost forced to support people that don't hold your values. I call them transactional values, where I have these values, but they're not really values if it's under the right conditions. There's a lot of people like that. I'm not one of them. So, for me, it doesn't quite work. But let's move on to something else, because, the corruption is just unbelievable. So there's a story that came out with everybody's favorite governor, Governor Newsom of California. Of course, I say that jokingly. Who is fighting hard. Now, he's not fighting hard for the employees, the workers, the people creating a business, the nurses, the doctors. No. You're last. He's fighting to give illegal immigrants $300 in unemployment insurance per week. I mean, first, does the California state unemployment insurance have that much money they could just give it away? Second, can't California do anything better with their money than to give it to people who broke the law to get in here? How do you guys... Hey, Donna, how you doing? Thank you for coming. Please, if you have any questions, please ask, or comments. So here we have a sitting governor who swore an oath to the Constitution, okay, now about to give state funds to people who broke that Constitution to walk in here. I mean, if there was ever a need for a recall of a governor, this is it. Let's not forget, it was Governor Newsom who was locking up people, for not wearing a mask during COVID, shutting down restaurants, while he was caught himself going out to eat, in these restaurants. He would have the place open, and you should have seen, when he got caught, he made it look like, I'm an important person, as they always do, the hypocrites. There's always a double-edged sword with them. And, it's really disgusting that this is happening in our country. Hopefully, when Trump gets in, he can, build a wall and, take care of the illegal immigration problem. I think he's going to have a fight with some of these states. But let's hope that we can get some sanity, right? That, we stop letting people come in who are literally lighting people on fire on the train, in New York, in the subway station. But I wanted to go over something else because, Congress passed a continuing resolution last week, of course, Friday, middle of the night when most people aren't paying attention. And I want to go over a few things. So, the Constitution gives Congress two primary responsibilities: appropriating federal funds and declaring war. Congress long ago abdicated its authority to declare war. Anybody who served knows that, right? The practice of funding the government through CRs and omnibus spending bills drafted by a few members and rushed through Congress before most members have ever had a chance to read them deprives members the ability to fulfill their constitutional responsibility to determine how to best allocate taxpayer dollars. So basically, again, they make these massive bills. Nobody can read them. It's impossible to read them. They pass them in the middle of the night, right? And so you have a bunch of stuff in there, and I went over a bunch of it over the week. The list of stuff that Congress has approved is just completely deplorable. So what happens is it also denies members an opportunity to offer amendments cutting spending. This is why everyone who supports a constitutional government and who understands the dangers of increasing government debt should support this horrible Congress Christmas tradition, because they do this all the time. Pass these ridiculous bills. Let me see if anybody has anything. Are you aware Governor of California is Nancy Pelosi, nephew, everyone? Yeah, I mean, Amy, I agree with you. Yeah, we need to throw the bums out. Yeah, we definitely need to throw the bums out. We need to throw them out in a lot of the state houses. A lot of the different counties. I mean, we are infected all over the place. And it's disgusting. These people, they don't like family values. They loathe us. They loathe the working class. Okay, that's why they're constantly giving away our money, right? Because they don't respect us, right? And what a disrespect. I mean, it's when a mugger mugs you, there are just certain feelings that you get. I don't know if anybody who's watching. Yes, new broom, sweep clean. I love it. Thank you, Amy. You feel violated. When you get robbed. I remember when I went to Chicago a couple of years ago. I used to watch this show called Man vs. Food. And I says, I'd like to try. There was this breakfast place, and it looked pretty good on TV. And I wanted to take the train across the country because it's a nice ride. And so I went to go have breakfast. And here's my SUV parked literally in a gated parking lot. Okay? And with supposed cameras, and it gets robbed while I was having breakfast. I was gone maybe 30, 40 minutes. I come back, everything was cleaned out. Even my ugly Chicago Cubs hat. Now I'm a Yankee fan. And the only reason why I bought a Cubs hat was because I went to see the Cubs the day before, and it was hot out with my head, with the sun. I say, hey, I gotta buy a hat. So I bought one of those ugly Cubs hats, but they even stole that too. And I'll never forget how violated I felt when I got robbed. They took, because I was going to see my grandmother. It was her birthday. It was actually her last birthday. And they stole some stuff, sentimental stuff that I wanted to give to her. They stole a lot of personal things that I had, And, so I go to try and get help. And I call the police. And they say, sir, start looking around. This is Chicago. Start looking around. Well, where do you want me to look? Look at the dumpster. Start walking the streets. So I start actually looking around. And then after like 5-10 minutes, I go, what the hell am I doing here? I says, can I get an officer to come here? They said, sir, are you bleeding? I says, no. I said, so how do I make a report? They said, well, you got to come down to the precinct. Oh, and it's $150 for you to do that. So I wasn't only robbed once, I was robbed twice, right? But here's my point. We're literally robbed every day. We're robbed every time we go to work. They steal from our paychecks, okay? And if you're lucky, at the end of the year, I'm not one of the lucky ones, but if you are one of the lucky ones, they give you a little bit of your own money back, right? Just a little bit. But even more than that, they steal your purchasing power out of your pocket every day. And that's the worst tax you have, which is inflation. I wish people would get as upset as I got in Chicago as they would at DC at how much they're stealing. Because they're stealing a lot more from us every day than I had mugged in Chicago. Hey, Ray, how you doing, buddy? Let's see, ruled for thee, but not for me. Gavin and Nancy. I wish we could ban both parties, but would settle for... 1, 2, 3. Might be... Thank you, brother. I really appreciate you. I mean, look. Here's the thing, right, is that the more we explain what being a libertarian is, the Constitution, free market principles, the more people gravitate towards us. Now, if they could just break their addiction to feeling like, man, I have to vote for this person, okay? If they can just break that addiction... I mean, I was talking to somebody in Nevada who wanted to vote libertarian. I mean, and so anyway, that person voted, but didn't vote libertarian. I says, why? I'm just so afraid that other person's going to win. And I said to myself, I says, what do you think? The person's going to win by one vote? I mean, are you that... I says, first off, where are your principles? You vote out of fear? No, you should vote for your values, what's best for the country, what's best for your children. You know, look, I voted for Chase Oliver. I say it proudly. You know, he's the only person that ran that was on the ballot, you know, that wasn't accused of fill in the blank, you know? But the guy had a solid economic, solid foreign policy message, right? His policies were a lot like Milei of Argentina, right? Now, do we have to go through what Argentina did in order to have a good government? Because that's what you're supposed to vote for, right? You're supposed to vote for good government. Not for who will give you the most, right? Okay, I have another story. Government gives another $500 million to child care. Now, you sit back and you go, whoa, Bobby, what's wrong with that? I mean, don't you want to help the children? Yes, that's the point. I want to help the children. When Congress gives money like this away, 500, like it's just like they're just, mind you, we don't have, mind you, our government doesn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, okay? It's funny, when Trump made, I forget the gentleman's name, to become Secretary of the Treasury. I made a post right away. I says, the Department of the Treasury, it should be called Department of Debt and IOUs. The treasure's gone, right? The gold was raided. The silver's gone, right? We're bluffing everybody, right? And so then you would say to me, Bobby, why wouldn't you want to give away this $500 million? I mean, come on, it's help the kids. Because I understand what it actually does. See, first off, the people who get the $500 million are not the actual poor people who need it. Because I remember growing up, right, we didn't have anything. And if you were actually poor growing up, or under the poverty line, or whatever it was, your family's not the one filling out those forms. You know why? They don't even have time to get to the fucking freaking school, excuse my language. They're too busy working, right? The people who fill out those forms for the free lunches and the free daycare, those people work. And they got big SUVs at the driveway. Most of them own their homes, okay? It doesn't go, first off, to where you think it goes. And a lot of these kids, with the free lunches, they could stand to lose a few lunches. Let's put it that way. These aren't the most physically fit kids to begin with. But on an economic reason why you don't want to give away money like this is because it drives up prices, right? Because now, see, when the free market bids on stuff, it allows the market to flow, right? So as demand grows, so does product, right? Because the businessman says, hey, we now have more customers. But when the government artificially goes in the market like this, what happens is you drive up cost. If you think childcare is expensive, wait till government starts providing it, right? So, again, but the politicians are great at packaging this stuff. They're great at finding a group and catering to that group. And that's the problem with a democracy, right? These people have convinced Americans that we can have whatever government we want and spend however much money that we want. And there'll be we're not going to tax you, right? We're going to keep your taxes low. We're going to give you all this stuff. And it'll be really cool, man. But they can't provide it. Government, we have to understand something. Government doesn't provide anything. All government can do is steal from one group and give to another. That's all government does. And we need smart people like Ray, Amy, Julie, everybody tuning in, everybody that's going to tune in and check out these videos need to hear this stuff because it's important to get the word out, to sweep, as Amy said, all the lies in the trash, right into the trash, and tell the truth. Government is corrupt. Government is broke. And when they come to give you something, be prepared because it's going to get very expensive. I vote for who I think is best for my family and country, not voting for the party. I love it. That's great, Amy. God bless you. That's right. Because you have principles. And it's important that you vote those principles. It is. It's so important. But, I always love, look, there's a reason why Democrats want to lower the voting age, right? They want to lower the voting age to 16, 14, hell, they might even go to 10. Why? Because when you're a little kid, right, you believe in Santa Claus, right? You think with your heart. You think softness. You don't understand the unintended consequences of what happens when government creates a program. So because kids look at government like Santa Claus, just like Democrats, okay? That's why Democrats want to lower the voting age. Now, I think the voting age should be raised. I think right now it's too young. I think maybe 25 might be a good age. What do you guys think? What age should we start voting? Because, it used to be, when the founders, we have to understand something. When the founders created the country, by the time you were 18, you had a business, you already had a family, you were well established, you were already in government. The kids today, the kids today don't have any responsibilities, a lot of them, And so, I don't want a bunch of immature people, right, voting, okay? So, we got to be careful of this stuff. We got to be careful. Democrats also want to make D.C. a state. And if D.C. becomes a state, say goodbye to the Senate. Say goodbye to Congress, right? If they make it a state. Hey, Steven, how you doing, buddy? Look, again, you're another solid guy. There's literally all solid people right now in this chat. They love this country. They're sick and tired of the BS. They're tired of being robbed and lied to on a continual basis. Steven, I love you, buddy. Yeah, well, right. Me and you could probably do literally months going over the Federalist Papers. I mean, first we'd have to explain what they are. Most people don't even know what they are, Maybe I should dive into that in future shows. Because, when it's so funny because usually when government wants to screw something up, they want to pass something that's not lawful, they'll always say things like, oh, we have to interpret the Constitution like it's written in alien or it's a foreign language. Hey, if you don't know what the Constitution is or what it means, well, the Federalist Papers really lay a lot out on what the founders were thinking when all of this was going on, right? Well, yeah. Well, see. Well, Ray, let me push back on that a little bit. That's funny that you said that. Because you said when you're old enough to get taxed, you should be old enough to vote in government who spends your money. Yes, if the person is working. Now, if you're old enough to work, but you're not working, and maybe you're on some assistance or something, no, we can't vote for that person. We can't let that person vote. Because, again, when you're not participating, I believe you need to participate. Unless you're retired, okay, something like this. On government. I appreciate you, Ray, for clearing that up. Yeah, I mean, I was talking about this the other night, how when people get on a program, they become automatically one-issue voters, right? And so you're going to vote for whoever is going to keep that program going, right? Nobody's going to vote for the guy who's going to destroy that program. And And so, yeah, we want participating members, you know, people who participate to vote. And I think that should be, you know, somewhere in there. Now, there are cases where you have, like, I was young. I started working when I was like 12, 13 years old, right? Working for my uncle in the city. I used to wash windows, clean carpets, all this stuff. So, hey, look, if you're young and you want to go to work and you can still go to school and do all this, you know, should that person vote? You know? I think values have to matter. I think maturity should matter. But that is an interesting topic. I think one barrier should be you got to participate in some way, you know. And that could be serving the country. It could be being, maybe become, I gotta be careful when I use the word civil servant. Maybe into the fire department, police department, paramedic, you know, I don't know. It's interesting. But again, you know, government. So anyway, so congressmen giving themselves a raise. Their pay now is 155% over the median household income of the average citizen. Now they have a fourth health care option. You know, they don't even pay for their own stamps, you know. And now we're paying for their sexual harassments and, you know, other nonsense that they're doing of $17 million. Put right on the Congress credit card. So, you know, the whole thing is absolutely corrupt. But does anybody have any questions or anything you guys would like to go over? I'm going to probably call it quits for the night. It was a long day. This is my first Saturday. You know, it was a long week for sure. Well, listen, look, if there's no more questions, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like, comment, share if you like what you're seeing. Thank you, Julie. I appreciate you. Love you. Why did they get away with this, Amy? Well, I'll tell you why. I'll answer that. Because they have a 97% re-election rate. That's why they get away with it. They get away with it because nobody will fire their asses. You know? Look, my employees, okay, they get paid excellent, okay? But I demand excellence back, right? It's a two-way street. I don't keep people who are going to give me 19%, right? So why should we? Listen, if you're going to do anything, Amy or Steven or Ray, we got to get out there. We got to primary these people. We got to show them what's up. Show them that they're not the only parties in town, right? Vote third ticket. Vote third ticket. Vote libertarian. You know, don't be afraid. You know, if you're in a situation where you don't have a third option, like I know up in Michigan, there was some trouble up there and a few other states. Write in a candidate. Write yourself in. Do not support these people. They are corrupt. You know, they hate you. They hate your children. You know? Thank you, brother. I will always keep it honest. I appreciate you. I love you, Ray. God bless you. God bless the family. I hope, hey, if you ever come to the East Coast, hit me up. Or if I go out there, we'll definitely hang out. Oh, wait a minute. Ray, before you hop off, I'll be going to Vegas in April. If you're around, let's do it, man. Let's hang out. So we'll talk about that more. Well, look, Amy, I am hopeful but pessimistic with Trump, okay? I hope Trump comes in, and because he doesn't have another election, that this is the last one, that he does the right thing. I hope he does the right thing. Look, Trump could be the greatest president of our lifetime if he does the right thing. And doing the right thing is telling the people who have been sucking off the government, sorry, we're broke. Doing the right thing is bringing our troops home, closing these bases, stop giving out welfare around the world, right? Doing the right thing is looking some of the constituents in the face and saying, no more, no mas. Closing the border. Use the military. Look, I said it, I think it was last night. If Trump put out a post when he becomes, what he can't do it now, when he becomes president, and says, hey, I need volunteers. Will you go? Yes, I'll go. Do you have any construction experience? Yes, I'll go. Do you have any law enforcement or military background? Yes, I'll go. Can you help build a wall? Yes, I'll help build a wall. Would you like to be an honorary deputy so you can arrest people? Yes, I'll do it. On the border? Absolutely. I will volunteer. Again, I will do it. And I bet you a bunch of you would too, right? We could save tens of billions of dollars, right? He could do it that way, right? Where there's good, honest citizens that will follow the laws lawfully and shut that border down. Or Trump can get the military, Coast Guard, right? Border Patrol, which I always thought those two should have been put together. What a waste to have those two separate entities. Maybe Doge could get on that. But awesome, Ray. I really hope that you can make that. But I'm looking forward to hopefully closing that border this time. Okay? That's what I'm looking forward to. That's something that could possibly happen. Hopefully we don't get into these trade wars, right? Hopefully we can fix what's going on with the Federal Reserve. Again, this is shooting for the moon, okay? This is Argentina level turnaround that Trump would have to do, okay? Look, Ronald Reagan walked into a disaster when he was president. But Ronald Reagan had the courage to tell the American people, hey, I backed the Federal Reserve raising rates to 21%. Is Trump going to do that? You know? Is Trump going to allow the dollar to keep getting inflated away? Or is he going to say, hey, the party's over. We're going to take the punch bowl away. So I am hopeful that Trump's going to do the right thing, but I don't know. But I'm going to tell you what, Amy and everybody else, when Trump does the right thing, I will say it. When Trump does the wrong thing, I'm going to say it. Right? Same thing with the Democrats. You know? I don't know when the last time the Democrats did the right thing, but whenever they do, I will definitely share that with everybody. No, Amy. No, it actually can get worse. And this is, and let me tell you how it can get worse. If we have a dollar crisis or a sovereign debt crisis, okay, which we are barreling towards right now, we are going to see a collapse the world has never seen before, economically. Look, I just got through a hurricane a couple of months ago. And I don't remember if I told the story or not. I didn't tell it on here, but I'm not sure if I posted it. But, you know, our lights were out in Greenville, South Carolina for, I think, a week and a half, maybe 10 days. Well, we were literally on day 2. And there was no food by day 2. Okay, they were already rationing. Day 2. I remember, because I don't go to McDonald's. I just don't go. Because, you know, I like to stay fit, whatever. But we went to McDonald's, and you know, the line, there were, double lines, out and way down, at least a mile long. I'm waiting. I got somebody on the line for me. I'm outside. I remember I was talking, my aunt called me. I was talking with my aunt. And all of a sudden, my aunt hears yelling in the parking lot. And she goes, hey, Bobby, don't get involved in that. Because she knows me. So what do? I go, hey, I'll call you back. I hang up. I run over there. There were these people in this SUV, and there was a whole family. And then there was one guy in a car next to this SUV. And this whole car jumped out at this one guy. As I ran around, I heard the woman say, I'm going to pop this mother effer. And I literally bolted for this woman. I grabbed her arm and I says, no, you're not. I says, there are kids out here. I grabbed her arm and I stopped her. Then her son turns around, sees me holding her, and then he starts to come at me. And I says, no, we're not doing this, man. We're not doing this. There's kids here. So, we were only day 2. And people almost got shot at a McDonald's a few miles from my house. Okay? What do you think is going to happen when we have a dollar crisis? And we have brownouts and blackouts with electricity because the power stations aren't being funded anymore. People can't pay their bills. So, you know, austerity, when it happens, it's bad. And that's why I have been telling people for years, you got to protect your wealth. You got to protect what you have, okay? You got to have a game plan with your family and your friends, okay? Financially, physically, right? You got to protect yourself with the Second Amendment, right? So, Amy, it can absolutely get worse. It absolutely can. And hopefully, this is my hope, that Trump can divert away from the path that we're going. Now, with what I just seen Congress do, passing this ridiculous spending bill the other day, that was the wrong thing to do. They shouldn't have added hundreds of billions of dollars. They should have subtracted hundreds of billions of dollars. So they didn't do the right thing. Can Trump force Congress, when he gets in, to do the right thing? I hope so. But if he does, I will let you know. If he doesn't, yeah, Amy, yeah, nurses can build walls. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, if he put the word out, if you put out the Trump signal, hey, I'm looking for volunteers, sign me up. I would absolutely, if it's the right cause, I'll serve again. If it's the right cause. So look, I appreciate everybody for coming on tonight. I love you guys. This was my first Saturday night, and I couldn't be more happy or blessed. I'm not going to be on tomorrow. I'm going to take the day off, but I'll be back on Monday. Please, if you haven't subscribed, go to my YouTube. It's linked in the bottom. I'm on X. And please subscribe, comment, share, like, share. Listen, really, I appreciate everybody. And thank you, Amy. We love you too. I love you too. And have a blessed and peaceful weekend. I love you. Have a great night. Thank you.